Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Course in Miracles, Course in Miracles, A Course in Miracles, A Course in Miracles.
I hear it.
Do you hear me? Mm-hmm. Yeah, hello, I'm back. The ego shall not prevail. It's doing its best, and we'll see what happens. So you can hear me? Okay. All right. Okay, good. All right. Okay. All right. The ego shall not prevail. I hope you tune back in so we can get started. Oh, man. Yeah, okay, cool. That's wild. Okay, those of you can hear me okay right out there. This is Earl Purdy. Send me some emojis. Send me some love. Send me some love.
It's working.
The ego is trying to mess with me. I'm too innocent for that. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Let's try it again. I'm not a victim of my recording equipment. I'm not a victim of my iPhone. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. Yeah. I'm not a victim of the norm. I'm not a victim of I'm not a victim of events and circumstance at all. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now, even the good stuff, don't beat yourself up, don't beat yourself up. Victim of the future, not a victim of the past. I'm not a victim of anything that really doesn't last. I'm not a victim, oh no, of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. What I've done to me, including the good stuff. I'm not a victim, of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. This is Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to Facebook Live. We're going to continue to talk about the rules for decision, what you should consider whenever you have decisions to make, how you should handle decisions, how you should handle decisions, how you should handle decisions. We're going to talk about that because it's the beginning of chapter 30, page 6, page 625. That's where we're going to start on page 625 in the Course in Miracles text. I'm not a victim of the world I see, cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, I'm not a victim of the world I see. No, you're not. Remind yourself that you don't have to believe the ideas, you don't have to accept the ideas, you don't have to welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe, and some of the ideas you will find startling. These ideas may startle you, but if you use the ideas, and I say use the ideas, and I say use the ideas, and I say use the ideas, then you'll see that the ideas are true. Not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done. Oh yes, oh yes. Okay, so all the chaos that I created at the beginning of the class tells me that there's something I really need to hear right now. So I will be, after 40 years of doing this, I will be trying extra hard to let myself hear it. Welcome, mighty companions. This is Earl Purdy. Welcome to A Course in Miracles. I'm so glad to be here. Do you know that you need to stop doing so much? The Course in Miracles says the problem is you all are trying to do too much. We're trying to do too much. We're trying to handle too much on our own. And actually, I don't know about you, but I can remember back in the day when I was really young, and I've seen other adults do this. A lot of times my mother would say, just go over there in the corner and sit down, boy, and let me take care of this over here. Because I was actually getting in her way. That's what the Course in Miracles is basically saying you're doing with your own happiness. That you're getting in your own way. That every time you think you can make yourself happy, every time you think you can make yourself happy on your own by the ideas that you come up with to make yourself happy, without asking Holy Spirit, you're just really guaranteeing that you're going to fail. The Course in Miracles is not about temporary happiness that comes because you think something on the outside went the way you wanted it to go. True happiness has nothing to do with things happening in the outer world the way you think you want them to go. True happiness is not based on things in the outer world going the way you think they should go. True happiness is not based in the outer world. It's not based on you trying to make things happen in the outer world. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say this, even though I know this can totally, completely get rid of the other 3 people that are watching me. But I'm just going to tell the truth. The truth is, the Course in Miracles basically says you can't make yourself happy. You know you can't. You've been trying all your life. You've been coming up with your ideas and your fantasies about how you think it's going to happen. Then you come up with your plan about how you think it's going to happen. And then you crucify people if they don't play the role you've assigned to them in your plan, because, of course, that usually involves other people in some way, which means you come up with some script, and I come up with some script that we think somebody's supposed to act out. And if they do it the way we want them to do it, then we're happy. And no. That is not going to work. That's for spiritual babies. That's how spiritual babies try to handle things. So the Course in Miracles is saying the most important thing that you can do is recognize that you need to make the rules for decision. And we heard last week that you're making decisions all the time. And you don't even recognize that you're making decisions all the time. And you need to stop being preoccupied with every step you take. He says, if you start out right, if you set it up right in the first place, he says, then you're going to be well ahead. So the first thing I need to do if I want to be well ahead in my day is every single day, the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is first thing I do every day is I do my Course in Miracles lesson. Every day when I wake up, I do my Course in Miracles lesson. Every day when I wake up, I do my Course in Miracles lesson. Every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. And when I wake up, I do my Course in Miracles lesson. Every day I read at least an hour. Every day I study. And I have been doing the Course in Miracles for over 40 years. You don't breathe one time for the entire day. You do not breathe one time for the entire day. What do? You don't go, you know what? I'm going to live off yesterday's breath. I'm going to live off of the breath I took last week. No, you have to do it every moment. Every moment you take a breath. Every moment you take a breath. So every day you have to give yourself the truth every day. You have to give yourself the truth every day. If you say you're a Course in Miracles student, and you don't have to be a Course in Miracles student, you can be studying other paths. Whatever your path is, stop expecting to get the result of something that you're not investing any time in. Stop expecting to get the result of something that you're not investing any time in. If you're not giving the Course in Miracles or whatever your spiritual path is, some attention and some study, stop expecting that things are going to change in terms of your internal state and your happiness. It's not. It's not. Just listening to me today is a support, hopefully, to whatever you're trying to do, but it does not substitute for you doing your own personal spiritual work. If you can make time for everything else you make time for during the day, you can make time for your spiritual practice. No excuses, no excuses, no excuses, yes, but, no, 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 no. People focus their attention on what they think is going to work. And if you never focus your attention on your spiritual path, it means that's not what you think is going to be the solution to what you're going through. What you invest your time in is what you value and what you believe in. Tell me what you do all day, and I'll tell you what you really value. Actions speak louder than words. Action speaks louder than words. Are you studying? Are you studying the text? Are you doing the workbook lessons? 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 Are you applying the workbook lessons to things when you get upset? Are you opening your book up and saying, okay, which one of these exercises has something to do with upset and how to deal with upset? If you got a grievance, go to lesson 78. Let miracles replace all grievances. The Course in Miracles will give you very specific instructions for what you should do, and if your upset has to do, especially with another person, that you have an upset that you feel about another person, which is our most common upsets, usually have to do with other people. So the course, lesson 78, the first 80 lessons in the Course in Miracles especially are lessons that tell you exactly how to deal with upset. So don't say you're a serious Course in Miracles student and every time something comes up, you don't go to the material. I'm not judging you. I'm not condemning you. I'm just being straight up. I'm just being straight up. There's so many people that expect to get the results of these books that we study. It's like buying the recipe book, throwing it on the counter, and then looking for the cake to pop up on the table. It doesn't work like that. And then what we do is we go, oh, the cake hasn't been baked. I know what I need, another recipe book. So we go out and we get another book of some type, and we read that, and then we throw it on the table, and then we sit in front of the oven and go, where's the cake? Oh, I know, the cake hasn't shown up. Let me go out and get another recipe book. And those are all the different books we read and all the different workshops we go to. That's getting 1,000 recipe books, but never really doing what the recipe book says. So the Course in Miracles says that in the rules for decision on page 625, I've already covered some of it, and I'm going to start where I left off, but I'm going to give a quick review right now. Now, you don't have to believe the ideas, accept the ideas. Some of it's going to be hard to believe. Some of it might be quite startling, but if you use it, you'll find out that it's true. So the first thing that the Course in Miracles says is that if your dedication is weak, and your resistance is strong, the Course in Miracles says, don't fight yourself, you're not ready. So if your dedication to something is weak, which means your resistance to doing it is strong, then you're not ready. If your resistance to doing your spiritual path and doing the Course in Miracles is strong, if your dedication is weak, every now and then you tap into it, once a week, once a month, every 3 weeks, let me tell you, your dedication is weak. I call it your dedication sucks. But that's my personal version of it. Doesn't mean you're bad. You're not being judged or condemned. I'm just telling you that the Course in Miracles says, don't fight yourself. Don't fight yourself. If your dedication is weak and your resistance is strong and your dedication is weak, the Course in Miracles says, don't fight yourself. Okay, now those of you who want to have strong dedication and you no longer want your resistance to be weak, then the first thing I want you to do, he says, is think about the kind of day you want. Think of the kind of day you want. Think of the kind of day you want. He says, think of the kind of day you want. Then what does he say next? Well, he says, then I want you to tell yourself there's a way you can have it. Think of the kind of day you want, then tell yourself there's a way for you to have it. What kind of day do I want? There's a way for me to have it. What kind of day do I want? There's a way for me to have it. That's the first thing. Think of the kind of day you want. If you be honest with yourself, you know you do that all day probably. All day long, you probably are thinking about things you want, things that you want to happen, things that you'd like to experience. We do that quite a bit. So first of all, that was a really easy request. Really, when you think about it, that was a totally easy request. Think of what you want. But the other part is to remember to tell yourself there's a way that you can have it just like that. Then he says, then I want you to try again to have the kind of day you want. Think of what you want. Tell yourself there's a way for you to have it. Then try again. Think of what you want. Tell yourself there's a way to have it. Then try again to have the kind of day you want. Do you notice that I'm giving very, very specific instructions from the Course in Miracles? That I'm not making this up? Because as a divine repetition teacher, as your remembering coach, which the Course in Miracles says that's the only thing that's necessary for you to get the peace that is promising, is you have to start remembering what it is telling you and not what you are telling yourself it's saying. You know, that's what many people do in my perceptions in dealing with the Course in Miracles. They're always telling you their interpretations about what they think the Course means. And then they call their teaching the Course. I'm not doing that. I'm using the book. I'm coming out of the book. I want to bring the book to life after 40 years so we can hear specifically what we're being told. We're being told if your dedication is weak and your resistance is strong, you ain't ready. You're not ready. That could be toward a relationship. That can be toward a goal. It doesn't have to just be toward the Course in Miracles. If I'm in a relationship and my resistance to it is strong and my dedication is weak, I need to not fight myself. I'm not ready for that relationship. If I'm on a job that my dedication to it is weak and my resistance to getting up in the morning, going there is strong, don't fight yourself. You're not really ready for that job. That's not a job that you're ready for. That's why you're throwing the alarm clock across the room, or cussing Siri out, you know, Alexa, or Google, or all these people and things that are voyeurizing us at every second. So the Course in Miracles then says, tell yourself the kind of day you want, and tell yourself, today I will make no decisions by myself. Okay, what's the next step? To tell yourself, today I will make no decisions by myself. Today I will make no decisions by myself. What does that mean? You know what that means. It means don't make no decisions by yourself. And people go, what are you talking about? You know what that means. Do not make any decisions by myself. Okay, and then it says, what does it mean? Now, those of you who are looking at the book, you'll see that the very next sentence says, this means. So it didn't say, I want you to give me your interpretation of what I'm talking about. It says, this means. Okay, everybody with me on that, okay? And then it says, this means what? You're choosing not to be the judge of what to do that day. If you really want, if you're choosing not to be the judge of what to do, you're gonna decide not to be the judge of what to do. So that means you're not gonna judge the situations that you have to make responses to. Because if you judge the situation in terms of how you think what the problem is, he says, if you judge the situation, then you are going to set the rules for how you should react to the situation. If you come up with what it is that, if you're the one that comes up with how you're going to respond, then you're also going to come up with the rules for your response. If I'm the one that's going to respond, and I'm the one that decided what the kind of response I should make, then the Course says, then you're going to set up the rules to how you should react to the responses. He said, well, in other words, don't ever try to figure out the Course in Miracles. Keep going. What does it say later? It says in paragraph 3, because we're in chapter 30, section 1, paragraph 3, in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. It says, this is your major problem now. What's your major problem? What's your major problem? You make up your mind, then you ask God what to do. You make up your mind, and then you ask what to do. You decide on what should happen, then you ask what to do. And the Course in Miracles says, then you get an answer from God, basically, and it doesn't resolve it the way you decided it should be resolved. It says, and then that leads to fear, and then you get angry. I'm just catching up on what I covered last week. The Course in Miracles says, when you make up the answer, and God tries to give you the real answer, you are going to react in an angry, upset way, because the answer you're being given is different from how you have decided it should go. I'll say it again. When you make up your mind about how to handle a situation or what you think should happen, then when the universe tries to give you the real answer, you're going to get angry because it may contradict the way you decided it should be handled or the way you decided it should go. So what do? He says, well, what I want you to do is throughout the day, at any time you think of it, anytime you have a moment for reflection, I want you to do what? What is it that the Course in Miracles says I want you to do? See, remembering it means you can tell me back what I just shared with you. Remembering it means not you making up what you think I just said. Remembering means that you remember if your dedication is weak and your resistance is strong, then you need to stop fighting yourself because you're not ready. You got to remember that you're making decisions all the time, that decisions are continuous. You're making decisions even when you don't know you're making decisions. Then he told us you should tell yourself what you want to experience and then tell yourself that you can have it exactly that way. Then it told us that you also must stop judging how you think everything is supposed to go, the once you say what you want. Your job is to say what you want to happen. It's not the same as saying it's your job to come up with how it's going to happen. The Course did not say you should come up with how that perfect mate is going to happen, that you should come up with how that perfect job is going to happen, how you should come up with that perfect sense. You obviously don't know how to create that, or you wouldn't feel the way you feel most of the time. So if you be honest with yourself, you don't a bit more know how to give yourself permanent happiness than the man in the moon. And don't forget, the Course in Miracles is talking about permanent happiness, constant happiness. Not that kind we come up with that goes up and down and up and down. I talked to you this morning. You're so high on that mountaintop and you're singing, and then I look at you that afternoon and I'm trying to keep you from jumping off the mountaintop. So it's like that same mountaintop you were jumping up and down about, now I got to call the helicopter to rescue you. You know, be quiet, because our happiness isn't based on anything that's real. Our happiness is based on our fantasies and desires going the way that we want them to go, which is kind of dumb when you think you got to make other people have to do the thing you want to do to make you happy. That's crazy when you really think about it. You're making your happiness dependent on what you have no control over. Don't you know you need to stop trying to make your happiness based on things that you don't have any control over? You don't have any personal control at this level of consciousness over the people around you. When you make your happiness dependent on some person or situation or circumstance that you have no personal control over at this level, notice I keep saying at this level, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Now, I'm not saying you can't enjoy things in the physical outer world. Do not misperceive me. I'm not saying that. You can enjoy everything, but you have to have the joy already in you, and then you're taking the joy into that car ride. You're taking the joy into that hike. You're taking the joy into that relationship. You're taking the joy with you. You're not expecting the joy to be in the thing that you think you see outside you. You're taking your joy into that home, so you love that home. You're taking your joy in you and your happiness in you where you go. So the Course in Miracles says every time you can think of it, anytime you have a quiet moment for reflection, it says you should tell yourself the feelings you want to have. Tell yourself the feelings you want to have. Well, Earl wants to have the feelings of joy and happiness and peace and fun and health. And I want to feel good. I want to feel good. I want to feel great. That's the kind of feeling I'd like to have. I like to have a feeling of love. I like to have the feeling of freedom. Tell yourself the kind of the feelings you want to have. Then it says, right here in the book, tell yourself the things you want to happen to you. What? The Course in Miracles says, tell yourself what you want to happen to you. What are the things you want to happen to you? Do you know that it says most people know what they don't want, and they'll tell you what they don't want? The Course in Miracles says most people tell you what they don't want, and they think that's the same as telling you what they want. That's like me telling you I want to take you to dinner, and you say, well, I don't want you to take me to McDonald's. Oh, that was my plan. Okay, all right, okay, I'll come up with something else. I had that Big Mac all picked out. As a matter of fact, I did the 2-for-1 with a coupon. I had this thing handled. But anyway, but the person tell you, but that's not the same as telling me I want to go to Red Lobster. You see what I'm saying? Telling me what you don't want is not the same thing as asking what you want for what you want. Saying you don't want to be broke and full of lack is not the same as saying I want to know wealth and abundance. Saying you don't want to be in a bad relationship is not the same as saying you want to be in a really wonderful, good, peaceful relationship. Saying what you don't want, the Course in Miracles says, this is what happens when you say what you don't want. It says, whatever you don't want, you project away from you, and then you meet it. You know, it's just like me, it's like kick the can, right? I kick the can and then I meet the can if I keep walking toward it. So every time you talk about what you don't want, you project it in the world because you're afraid of it, and then he says you meet it. So, you know, you don't want to meet people who are obnoxious. So you project that being obnoxious is outside of your mind instead of inside of your mind. Then you meet it. So say what you want. Say what you want. Say the feelings you want to have. Say what kind of day you want to have. Tell yourself the things, which is even more powerful than things. Tell yourself the things. I'm taking it to a new level. It's advanced. That's right. It's your thing, by the way. Do what you want to do. I cannot tell you who to sock it to. But don't make that decision by yourself. Don't never make the socket 2 decisions without God. I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna regret it. Then it says right here in the book, what does it say? If I make no decisions by myself, what's going to happen if you make no decisions by yourself? This is the day that will be given me. Did you hear what it said? This is the day that will be, what day will be given you? The day that's the kind of day you want, the day that's full of the feelings you want to have, the day that's full of the things you want to happen to you, the day that will be the things you want to experience. It says that day will be given to you. Didn't I say you had to earn it? Didn't I say you had to pay for it? I don't know about you, when I've received birthday gifts that I didn't pay for. Okay, I've received gifts from people that I did not pay for or earn. So the idea that the life and the universe cannot just give you abundance, cannot just give you joy, cannot just give you holy, happy, healed relationships, that's a fallacious thought for you to think that the kind of day that you want can't be given to you. But it can be given to you if you make no decisions by yourself, which is the same as saying if you stop coming up with how you think you're going to make what you want to happen by yourself, which means you are willing to listen to what higher power, Holy Spirit is telling you, which may be different from the way you figured it out. So how do you know if you're not making the decision by yourself? Is what, question that comes up for some people. Well, the Course says it's very simple. If you're doing what I'm telling you and you're following my instructions, Spirit is saying to us, then you aren't making the decision by yourself. If you do what the Course in Miracles, for instance, is telling you to do, these steps that I'm telling you to do, that is you not making a decision by yourself, because saying these things weren't your idea in the first place. So that means just because you're doing what this says, you're no longer making decisions by yourself because you're listening to something besides your own ego mind. So it's not as complicated as your mind would try to make you think it is. If you're doing your spiritual path, you aren't making a decision by yourself. But if you're not doing your spiritual path or not listening, because people go, well, how can I tell when I'm listening to the Holy Spirit, my higher self, and when I'm listening to my ego? Well, a really quick way is how you feel. If you feel fear, anger, guilt, attack, and you want to take a few people out, there's a possibility that's not the voice for God. I mean, this is a stretch, but it's a possibility that the thoughts of murder are not coming from Jesus. They might be coming from you. I'm just saying. Just saying. If you're the one with the rifle on top of the building, it's probably the ego that's telling you what to do. That's the devil. That's right. It's the devil. It still don't have nothing to do with me. That's why I love the whole devil thing when I grew up in fundamentalist Christianity, because you could always blame the devil. It was always the devil. The devil made me rob the bank. I can see the payoff with the devil thing. I can definitely understand why people want to believe in the devil, because the Course says the devil is in your mind. That's where the devil is located. The devil is your thoughts of fear and anger and separation in your mind. So I love that. He says the ego is the devil. So then the Course in Miracles says, if I make no decisions by myself, this is the day that will be given me. He says, if you do these two procedures, what? If you practice it well, what will happen? Well, I can direct you without fear. If you start doing this, I can give you your directions without you being afraid. So if you want to receive your directions from Spirit and you don't want to be afraid, you do two things. You tell yourself what you want to happen, the feelings you want to have, the things you want to happen to you, the things you want to experience. Then you say, if I make no decisions by myself, this is the kind of day that's going to be given me. But he says these two procedures must be practiced how? Practiced well. None of that every now and then stuff. It says this must be practiced well. Then you have to go, well, why? Why do I need to practice this well? Well, he says because it's going to serve to let you be directed. And how do you want to be directed, boys and girls? I want to be directed without fear. I want to be guided without fear. I get tired of everybody trying to get me to do something out of trying to make me be afraid. That's what I'm seeing so much right now. Everybody's trying to be directed in terms of what they should be doing out of fear. It's the fear of climate change. It's the fear of COVID. It's the fear of this. It's the fear. So we're going to make you so afraid you will do it. That's the way the ego does stuff. I'm going to terrify you so much that you'll do what I want you to do. So I want to be directed, And don't you want to be directed and rejected without fear? So sometimes spirit takes over. Do you want to be rejected without fear? Yes, I would love to be rejected without fear. You know, one of my favorite sayings is rejection is protection and redirection. I'll say it again. Rejection is protection and redirection. That's spirit telling you to go. If I rejected you, you're being redirected from me. But if I don't love myself, you're going to be the main one I want. And I just can't get away from you. I got to have you. The more you reject me, the more I got to have you. That's what happens when you're listening to the wrong voice. Wrong voice equals rejection. Right voice equals acceptance. Wrong voice equals what? Rejection. Right voice equals acceptance, accepting. So in any relationship, be it friendship or whatever kind of relationship, with me, I'm looking for the person to show as much interest in me as I'm showing in them. That's my rule for myself in any new relationship. If me and you just meet and I'm interested in you and you don't show an equal amount of interest in me, I ain't going in your direction because I'm irresistible to the people who were sent to me by God. The Course in Miracles says love is irresistible. When someone loves you, they can't resist you. If it's love, they can't resist you. If it's love, they're not processing it. Okay, love doesn't equal processing and it doesn't equal fear. And it does equal an irresistible attraction. That's why the Course in Miracles says that's why nothing here satisfies us, because we have an irresistible attraction to real love, and we have an irresistible attraction to God, and we have an irresistible attraction to joy, and nothing here can really give us that on a permanent basis, so therefore we're never satisfied permanently with whatever we achieve here, because there's a part of us that knows we deserve more and better than we come up with for ourselves. That's why people are never satisfied. It's because the pull of God is stronger than anything they can get in the world. Is what this book says. So if you let yourself be directed without fear, then he says your resistance and opposition won't come up and become a problem. See, the biggest problem with teaching people the Course in Miracles is the opposition that they have to it. As a teacher, most of the time, instead of actually teaching the material, you spend most of your time if you can spend a lot of your time trying to convince the person that the Course is true, or why they should take a look at it, or what it means. So you can't even, it's like I'm trying to take you to California, but we could be on the road, but I'm spending all my time trying to convince you it was okay to get in the car with me to go to California. So I could save a lot of time if I just wanted to go to California with somebody that already wanted to go to California. We could be on the road already. But that's not the way we do it. We hook up with the people who we got to convince to go on the journey with us in the direction we want to go. So we're spending all our time trying to get their approval, their validation, their understanding, when you could actually be on the road trip right now. So the Course in Miracles says, if you tell yourself what you want, then you say, I'm going to make no decisions by myself. He says that will let you be directed without fear, without the opposition coming up and being a problem in itself. How? Tell yourself what you want. Tell yourself, if I make no decisions by myself, this is the day that will be given me. Have you done that, Course in Miracles students especially? How many of you in the last month have said, if I make no decisions by myself, this is the day that will be honest? Come on. Be you? Come on. Well, I didn't know to say it. Had never read it. Oh, so well, that kind of explains why the Course ain't working for you. You're not reading it, But I'm supposed to get the result of it just by thinking about it. Well, you do get a lot of blessings just by going in the direction of God, no matter how little effort you put into it. It's just the fact that you're going in the direction of love is a good thing, but it's not the same as telling yourself what you want and then telling yourself, if I make no decisions by myself, it's going to be given me. It's not the same as telling you that if your dedication is weak and your resistance is strong, you're not ready, so you need to stop fighting yourself. The Course in Miracles is trying to give us a break. I tell people often, if it's your spiritual path and it's your true spiritual path, it's not something that anyone has to force you to do. If it's your true spiritual path, whatever that path is something you want to do. When I have a crisis, I had a lot going on in the last week that tested my ability to practice the Course in Miracles. Absolutely, this last week, and it ended up with a miracle beyond my wildest imagination. But I also put in the time. I put in the hours memorizing the prayer. I was saying the prayer over and over about this situation and these people that were involved in it. I didn't sit back and go, okay, I'm giving it to the Holy Spirit. Well, giving it to the Holy Spirit means I've got my butt in the book studying and doing what it's telling me to do. That is giving it to the Holy Spirit, because now I'm using a solution I didn't think of. That's what giving it to the Holy Spirit means. It means turn to your spiritual practice and apply it and learn how to listen to the voice for God within yourself. It don't mean I'm giving it to the Holy Spirit. This is like going over a cliff in the car and you go, well, I'm giving it to the Holy Spirit. Good, because the Holy Spirit's going to be waiting for you on the other side in about 10 seconds. Okay. I tell people most people are too guilty to die, so don't worry about it. Because the Course says this is hell. So we think we're going to hell. It's like the funniest thing. Say, don't y'all know y'all already in hell? You're in a place where you can lose those you love. You're in a place where anything can happen. You're in a place where you could be attacked at any moment for any reason. You could get sick. We all know the host of ways we can get it. He said, I don't know how to break it to you, but that's hell. You know, if you don't work, you don't eat, that's hell. That's hell. He said, you're in hell. What we're trying to do is get your butt out of hell. Now, there's some people that love hell, right? You know, I mean, I love going to Vegas. You know, that's loving Vegas in hell. You know, how many of y'all like to hike in hell? Some of y'all probably did it today. You know, some people like to hunt in hell. Some people like to go to work concerts in hell. Some people like to get married in hell and have hell with their children. You know? Some people got parents hell, grandparents, job hell. You're in hell. Don't you know you're in hell? I know some parts of it is really fun. You know, I've seen some of the best Star Wars movies in hell you can possibly imagine. So I didn't say that you can't have a few good times, but the Course in Miracles says compared to what your real reality is like that God gives you, this is hell. And he says hell is fear. It's a place where you can be afraid. So you're trying to get out of hell. The spiritual paths take you out of hell, and you don't have to die. It's not you don't have to die to get out of hell and fear. You just have to have a change of mind. You don't have to, we're not talking about you're going to die and you're going to go to heaven. No, I'm talking about that you could have a change of mind that absolutely gets rid of all your fear and anxiety and concerns and worries. But you cannot do it by yourself. The Course in Miracles is saying you have gone as far as you can go on the spiritual path with you being the guide. You can be in charge of your journey. If I was on a safari in Africa and I had a guide, I'd be unwise not to follow the guide, especially through lion territory, right? I'm not going to go, I'm in charge, so I'm not going to listen to you, but the way you can direct me safely through lion territory, because I'm in charge. No, in charge meant you hired the guide. In charge means it's your safari. But a smart person in an unknown territory listens to the guide. And let's face it, permanent happiness and love is unknown territory for us. Mm-hmm. We need a guide through here, don't we? Yes. Yeah. So our guide, the guide, you said you wanted to go to the escarpment, right? That's the name of the place you wanted to go. The guide says, I'll show you the safest way to get there, but it was still your choice to go to that location. We're saying we want to go to the real world. We want to go to love. We want to go to peace. We want to go to joy, health, happiness. So we need a guide. The Course in Miracles says, okay, here's the Holy Spirit in a physical book or in digital form so that you can learn how God thinks and how the Holy Spirit talks and thinks and guides. Because if you go to your own mind, you're going to make up what that means, and you won't be able to tell the difference between when it's the voice of the Holy Spirit talking to you and when it's just something you've made up because you want it. Because most people come up with what they want, and just because they want it, they say God told them to want it. That's the way most people do it. I want something, so I'm going to say God wanted me to have it. And so the Course in Miracles says in that case, you don't know how to tell the difference between when you're listening to God's voice and when you're listening to your voice. So you need something to teach you the difference between the two voices. That is the Course in Miracles. It teaches you how to tell the difference between when you're about to give yourself some good advice and when you're about to give yourself some bad advice. But you need to get into the material to know that, because you will only deceive yourself. And you know how much you deceive yourself by how unhappy you are. That's how you know. You should be glad. That's really good news. I'm unhappy, but I'm deceiving myself. It doesn't have to be this way. Yeah, that's good news. Then he says, oh God, for me, because I love the Course in Miracles so much, when I look down at my watch and I see that, it's 45 minutes has passed by, it's like, oh man, I'm just getting warmed up. And it's time to start turning the dial down. But I'm going to enjoy it as much as I possibly can. Because I know that most people don't want to listen to it as long as I want to talk. That's the way it is. And I understand that. Many people think they pat themselves on the back for being able to hang for 1 hour of my class. They want a medal. It's like, oh my God, I stayed awake a whole hour. I know the Course, And for me, that's like an appetizer. It's like just a little because what's left? To go back to thinking the way you normally think? That's what you inherited to do? That's really funny when you think about it. Oh, you want to go back to worrying about everything most of the time, wondering what's going to happen? This right here is, but you deserve a medal for hearing that you deserve to be happy and you can have what you want and it could be given to you. And that's a challenge to listen to. I understand. So the Course says, what I want you to do is, he says, there will be times when you've already judged how it should go. So when you get the answer from God, it's going to provoke anger and attack. So you have to quickly straighten your mind out to want an answer that works. So straightening your mind out means you wanting an answer that will work. So how can you tell when you want your mind straightened out? You'll say, I want you to give me an answer that will work. That's straightening out your mind. And be certain that you've already come up with what you should do if you feel yourself unwilling to sit down and ask the Holy Spirit to have the answer given to you. In other words, if you don't ask God first, you've already made up your mind about what you should do and how you should do it. If you don't sit down and ask, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? Who do you want me to say it to? What do you want me to do, God? Where do you want me to go, God? Where do you want me to go, God? What do you want me to say, God? And who do you want? Who do you want love? Who do you want me to say it to? Then the Course in Miracles says, if you were already judged already, then you're not going to ask to have the answer given to you. And if you don't ask to have the answer given to you, the Course says that means you've already decided for yourself and you can't see the question. So when I read that before, I said, what do you mean I can't see the question? What's the question? What is the question I can't see? The question is, I asked to have the answer given to me. It was right in the sentence right before it. It says right here, if you feel yourself unwilling to sit by and ask to have the answer given to you, okay, I didn't do that. Then he says, well, that means you have decided by yourself. So you can't see the question. What's the question? The question is, what's the answer? Give me the answer. Give me another way of looking at it. Please give me my guidance. That's my question. That's my question. How do I do this? What should I do? What should I do? How should I do it? You can't see the question. He says, so you need a quick restorative before you can ask again. So what do you do when you're getting upset because it looks like the answer isn't coming the way you want it to come? What do? Well, you remember once again the kind of day you want. You remember once again that you're not having the kind of day you want. Something that has occurred is not part of it. I didn't think hanging off a cliff by my fingers was going to be part of my day. I don't like what's happened. Something has occurred. How many times have you had something occur during your day that wasn't a part of what you asked for? That happens to us all the time. And so the Course in Miracles says, well, that's because you asked a question and you didn't include higher power. You asked a question and you didn't include God. You're not doing what I'm telling you to do. And so the Course says that means I love it. He says that means you set an answer in your own terms. That's how I know I've come up with my own answer in my own way, because something's happening that's different from what I asked for. So I know I must have come up with this plan by myself. How do I know? Because it looks like something's happening that's not part of the day that I asked for. So what's keeping me from having the day that I asked for is I'm the one that's deciding how it should happen. So why are you not having the relationship that you asked for? Because you're the one that decided by yourself that this is what's going to be the person. It's anytime you make a decision by yourself, that's when you're in a predicament. You say, how did I get into this? And I wish it was different from the way that it is. That's how you can determine your plans as opposed to God's. Did you get what you want? Didn't get what you want, your plan did get what you want. What do you really want? I really want the peace of God. I really want happiness. I really want joy. I really want abundance. That's what I think these things that I'm asking for are going to give me. You know, I'm trying to be in a relationship because I want to have the experience of not being alone and the experience of oneness and the experience of joining. I want to make a lot of money so I can have the experience of security. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's always an experience that you're hoping for, no matter what you're asking for. You want that thing to give you an experience. You say you want to go out on a date. You usually want the experience of joy. So why don't you just go, I want to have the experience of joy. Leave date out. That's the middleman. You know, I want to have the experience of security. I think it's a house. So now I'm putting all my attention on trying to get a house. Why? So I can feel secure. Why don't you just ask for security? And then see what form security takes for you. See, that's the way you do it. You focus on the goal, and the Course in Miracles says the goal will create the circumstances that allow the goal to be fulfilled. So our job is to keep our goal in mind. Did you notice today that it said, think about what you want, the kind of feelings you want to have, what you want to experience? It's that your job is to focus on what? The how is not your business. The how is not your business. But that doesn't mean you have to freak out because you don't know how, because guess what? I'm going to show you, for those who is relevant to, where the how gets handled. Would you like to know? Yes, bam! Yes. Bam! It's upside down. You know what I'm talking about. This is how. This is how it happens. It's in here. The how is in here. The how is in your spiritual path. The how is in your spiritual path. So when you say how, and you feel mystified, and you will, okay, I know I need to focus on what I want, but I don't know how it's going to happen. What you're really saying is, I don't know how I'm going to do it again on my own. That's all that means. You say, but I don't know how. It means you don't have a plan. You don't have a plan. That's what you mean. You don't know what your plan is that you need to come up with. It's another way of you doing the same thing, still thinking that the how is up to you. So that when Spirit tells you the real way to have it, then you will not listen, and you'll feel angry maybe, or upset maybe, because you've decided it's going to come in the way of the color blue. And Spirit is saying, no, the truth is it's coming into you in the color green, and I'm over here pointing to green, but you've decided it should be the blue way, so you're not paying attention to the green way that I'm giving you. And what is the green way? What is the green way for those that's their particular path? This is it. This is the green way. Because your mind might be saying now, how do I do it though, Earl? Can you read? Well, if you can't read, can you listen? There are audio books. There's no excuse. But if your dedication is weak and your resistance is strong, you're not ready for this. Don't fight yourself. So you say to yourself, I forgot. I have no question. I forgot what to decide. Then my mind goes, what do you mean I forgot what to decide? What is it I forgot to decide? Well, what you forgot to decide, in case you're wondering, right? Well, what is I forgot to decide? You forgot to decide not to make any decisions by yourself. That's what you forgot to decide. Especially if you're upset, it means you've been making decisions by yourself. I have no question because I forgot what to decide. This cancels out the terms that you have set. I love this. And once the terms that you have created have been canceled out, when the terms of your happiness that you've made up that don't work has been canceled out, he says, then that lets the answer show you what the question must have really been. Because the answer, which is I make no decisions by myself, it shows you that the question should be, I asked for the answer. I asked for the answer. I want this. How can it happen? I want this. What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? Who do you want me to say it to? Okay, I'm going to give a quick recap in a minute. To wind this up, don't forget you need to listen to it at least 4 times, repetition, remembering, repetition, remembering, repetition, repetition. It's not understanding the course, it is practicing the ideas and saying to yourself the things that you're being very specifically told to say to yourself. That is the truth. I'm a full-time teacher of the Course in Miracles. Thank you so much for your generosity. Those who would like to make a financial expression of appreciation, please do. You can use Venmo, you can use Zelle, you can use the Cash App, you can use PayPal. All you need is my email address, and my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. Excuse me, earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. My website is www.earlpurdy.com. You can also go to my website, earlpurdy.com. Thank you. I'm available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions, where I work as a mentor, a coach, and an advisor. And so if you really want to get past your blocks and take advantage of 40 plus years of teaching and learning the Course in Miracles and being an astrologer and numerologist, and you want to take advantage of everything I've learned, then just have a clarity session with me. Go to my website, earlpurdy.com, look under the Clarity Session tab. It will give you all the details, and you can book a session with me right online. Okay. Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time on the Facebook page, Facebook Live page, the Earl Purdy page on Facebook, the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. Thursdays, Mountain Time, 7 p.m. I do Hardcore Course in Miracles. Hardcore Course in Miracles. Sunday, 1 p.m. Mountain Time. We're doing the Course in Miracles class that we're doing right now before and a live audience. So thank you, a live audience. I know. I'm gonna tell you something. I went through a big learning experience this past week, and the story doesn't matter. The point is, I saw the Course in Miracles work when I worked it in a way that blew my mind. So my dedication, commitment, and belief in what the Course in Miracles teaches is greater than ever before, because I was mad. I was upset. Don't correct me. Nobody correct me, please. I'm just going to tell you how I feel. I don't need to be fixed or corrected. All I'm saying is, if you try not to do that with other people, let them say what they got to say without coming up with all the brilliant retorts to what they should do. Just listen. Don't fix. Just listen. Guess what? I was very upset, very afraid, very angry. And I got my Course in Miracles book. I went to the lessons and exercises that deal specifically with what I was feeling, and I took hours to change my mind. And it ended up that the situation was handled in a way and resolved in a way that was beyond my wildest dreams as far as the result that I got after I did what it was said, because I did not make any decisions about how I was going to handle that by myself, because I went to the Course in Miracles and did what it said. That is me not making any decisions. But I did tell myself what my intention was in this meeting that I had to have. I told myself the feelings I wanted to have, what it was I wanted to experience. And I knew if I would do what the Course in Miracles said, which was the same as me not making that decision by myself, because I went to God, I went to my guidance. And then I did have the kind of day I wanted. I had a day that was better than the day that I could have imagined. And I am not special. That simply means that if I can work it, you can work it. If I can, and what that simply meant was sitting my butt down, getting my Course in Miracles book out, and focusing in on the lessons and exercises. And you can just open up the workbook. You can just open up the table of contents and just choose some workbook lessons, or just, what I'm saying is go to the material, go to the material, go to the material, go to the material. A miracle can happen because real change happens on the inside. So what happened was I had a change. And when I had a change as a result of what I was focusing in on in the course, then my outer had to reflect that. And then I got back the reflection of my change. And I love it that way. That meant my happiness depended on me. That what solved it was me changing my mind rather than me trying to figure out how I would try to change the mind of the other people involved. You want to go in the direction of the real answer, not the answer that the world has told you, which is always if somebody else or something outside of you changed, then you'll be happy. So that's what I wanted to say to you, mighty companions. You are absolutely awesome. So give me 1 minute here. If you make no decisions by yourself, tell yourself the kind of day you want. Tell yourself the feelings you want to have. Tell yourself the things you want to happen to you. Tell yourself what you would experience. Tell yourself, if I make no decisions by myself, this is the day that will be given me. If you have to straighten out your mind, if you've already judged how you're going to think you're going to get it, and when you hear the real answer, you find resistance, then you have to straighten out your mind to want an answer that will work. And if you find yourself unwilling to sit by and ask Spirit, that means you've already decided by yourself. And if you've decided by yourself, you're not going to have the kind of day that you want. If you decide by yourself, you're not going to have the kind of day you want. If you leave Spirit out, love out, God out, guidance out, you're not going to have the kind of day that you want. And the kind of day that you want is a day full of love. You want a day full of happiness, a day full of joy. You want a day full of love. You want a day full of joy. You want a day full of peace. That's what you really want. No matter what you're physically, materially asking for, what you really want is what you really want, what you really want, what you really want, what you really want, what you really, 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 really want, what you really want. You want the love, you want the joy, you want God, you want happiness. That's what you really want. And you can have it just like that. Okay, mighty companions, it's so cool. I needed to be reminded. I'm your friendly remembering coach. I appreciate you so much. May the course be with you. And we're going to continue going through the rules for decision. So read that up. Pain, addicted to the pain. I love this song. let me let y'all hear this song if y'all not gone yet. It's awesome.
Must be the reason why
I always choose to stay. Because misery loves company. That's how I love to stay. That's why I chose to stay. Check out this.
But I know I can't go on in this earth forever. It's up to me to be free. Let myself feel better. Time to sing a song of grace, a song to heal the human race. The melody returns to me again. When I realize I knew the harmony starts shining through. We're all caught up in love's last embrace.
We all caught up in love's last embrace. We all caught up in love's last embrace. Check this out, y'all.
Fear is illusion that we must see beyond. Know that the Father, yes, He made us all as one.
Welcome home.
Now has come and we've begun to find that hidden treasure we thought we lost so long ago. It's been with us forever. It's time to sing the song of grace, a song to heal the human race. The melody returns to me again. When I realize I knew the harmonies were shining through, we're all caught up in love's last embrace. The harmonies just shining through when I realize I am you, and we're all caught up in love's last embrace. Whoa, yeah.
John Christmas.
John Christmas. John Christmas. www.johnChristmas.com. You can download those songs. JohnChristmas.com. I love y'all.
Love you.
See you next time. May the chorus be with you.